One of the mistakes that we see all too often when people come to us after someone else represented them in a divorce is that when they accepted investment stocks, they had no idea about the capital gains, about what their exposure is. No one explained to them that there's a basis in those stocks that they took in the divorce, that unlike in an inheritance, they don't get what's known as a stepped-up basis, but that if they bought those stocks 25 years ago when they married and they paid $100 and now that stock is worth $10,000, they did not realize that they would have a significant capital gains tax on the spread. So that's something that in my firm, we always make sure that our clients recognize that we figure that out in advance so that when they take an account with a certain amount of money in it, they know what they're actually going to realize, or at least realize as of the date of transfer had they liquidated that stock. So, for example, if somebody took in the divorce, they got an account, an investment account with a value, let's just say to use round numbers, of $1 million. If the average basis of the assets in that account was $200,000, they sell it. When they sell it, they've realized an $800,000 gain, and depending on their tax bracket, the long-term capital gains tax on that might be 20%. So on that $800,000, they're going to owe 20%. They're going to owe the government $160,000. So that's significant, and that's something that you certainly don't want to miss. We want to make sure that our clients understand that when we settle the case. It's so common and completely understandable that in a divorce, there's a ton of emotion. There's hurt, there's anger, and all too often that clouds people's judgment. On countless occasions, I've had a client say to me, I'm so angry with him or her, I want to fight, and I'd rather give you the money, James, than give it to my spouse. And I always explain to them that when they give it to me, I can assure them that will help my children. That's how I got my children through college. It won't help their children. So we implore them to not let the emotions cloud their judgment. I say to them that you may feel that way today, and today you want to fight, and today, your hope is that I will destroy your spouse, something that I will not do, because I know that doesn't help you. And I know that sooner or later, the day will come, hopefully, where you'll regret that. And so we don't want you to regret it. We don't want you to go down that road. So post-divorce, people ask, what next? What advice can you give me? And I do say to them, don't rush into the next marriage. And I smile when I say that, but I really mean it. I think that you're vulnerable. I think that you're also in a spot where, depending on how long you've been married, you've viewed yourself as a couple, and now you're kind of finding yourself again and finding your own life. So on a personal level, I implore people, please don't remarry right away. I don't want to see you back in my office, maybe for a prenup, but certainly not for a second divorce. And unfortunately, when people jump into other relationships too quickly, they do on occasion end up back in our office. But from a legal standpoint, I would say, make sure you know what's in that agreement. We tell people, put it away, especially with respect to custody issues. Put it away, and hopefully you never have to look at it again, because you and your former spouse will work things out. But it is important that you're aware of what your responsibilities are, what your obligations are under that agreement, and what you're entitled to. And so that's really critical. All too often we'll have people, I have a case we were just retained on last week, where somebody was unaware of their obligation to split a 401k plan. They've been divorced for 15 years. And unfortunately, they've added money to that 401k plan. They've made future contributions. It's going to be really difficult now to figure out what their former spouse was entitled to. And so something that would have been really simple to do 10 or 15 years ago when they divorced is now going to take a lot of time and unfortunately cost a lot of money. So knowing what's in that agreement, being really clear on what your responsibilities are and what you're entitled to will make life a lot easier going forward. Well, I always explain to people that how long a divorce will take and what it will cost is dependent on 4 people initially, the 2 lawyers and the 2 parties, and then down the road, if it's really ugly, the addition of a judge. There's a lot you can do, any one individual can do, to limit how long the divorce takes. And honestly, the 2 biggest parts of that are controlling your emotions, not letting the emotions cloud your judgment, and then cooperating, being responsive. In my firm, we take a lot of pride in being proactive, not reactive. And the reason that we're proactive is that allows us to not only move cases efficiently, but to get better results. To do that, I need the client's cooperation. So when we ask you for financial documents, get them. I know it's not easy. I know that in New York, we have the statement of net worth. It's a court document where you have to list all of your assets, all of your liabilities, all of your expenses. That can be overwhelming. Our team's really good at helping people get that done in an efficient manner, but we need your cooperation. Return our phone calls. We're on top of things. We return phone calls. We ask the same from you, not to feed our ego, but to allow us to most effectively and efficiently represent you. Look, I always say it's really easy to be on this side of the desk. It's really easy to give advice, and I can only imagine that were I divorcing, it would be really hard to follow that advice. Do the best you can. Stay in touch with us, ask us questions. There's a lot we can do to help you get through your divorce in the best way possible, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help.